Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrachata Sahagana Raghunathan Vitamtam Sachivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha Namom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauradushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mancha Kalpatarurvyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Padita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome everyone. We are studying Sri Ishopanishad. Yesterday we discussed the introduction chapter and the Mangalacharan or invocation chapter. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. That was a mantra discussed. And this mantra had four aspects towards it. The Lord, the Absolute Truth, is Purna, complete. And this world which has come out of that Absolute Truth is also Purna or complete. Therefore, we don't believe in Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. There are a group of philosophers who say that this world is a place of non-reality. It's imaginative. It's not real. But our understanding is not so. Our understanding is this place is real. It's just that it is temporary. But it is real. So while I'm in this world, my experiences, my suffering, my happiness, it's real. However, it's not permanent. It will end someday. It can end someday. That's our understanding. Then third is the living entities who have come out from the Supreme Lord. They are also individually complete. That completeness is because of their ability to serve the Supreme Lord. If they revive that nature, then they will experience that completeness. But if they lose that nature, then they will not experience that completeness. So any kind of incompleteness experience in life is due to have lost that nature. Then I am a servant of Krishna. So I should be engaged in Krishna's service. All right. And finally, we discussed that though so many complete units have come out from the Supreme Lord, he still remains complete. He still remains complete. That's why he's called Absolute Truth. So Srila Prabhupada used to say, to explain this concept, he used to say, when it comes to Absolute Truth, 1 + 1 is equal to 1. 1 - 1 is also equal to 1. You add anything to him, he remains who he is. You subtract anything from him, he remains who he is. Complete. Purna. Nothing gets reduced from him. Nothing gets subtracted from him. Now, for the living entities who live in this world, for them to experience this completeness, and for them also to have this complete peace and harmony amongst themselves, the Supreme Lord has made a law. If I live my life, and if others also live their lives as per that law, then everyone in this world will be able to experience that completeness. That law is mentioned in mantra number 1. What is that law? That is given in the mantra number 1. We'll see that now. So that law is Ishopanishad sarvam yatkincha jagatyang jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma gridaha kasya swittanam. This mantra describes how the living entities can again regain their sense of completeness by acting in relationship with Krishna. To act in that consciousness is also called Ishopanishad consciousness, also known as Krishna consciousness, or in generic term known as God consciousness. Ishopanishad consciousness. A very simple understanding of this mentality is given by Srila Prabhupada. He says, when you begin to understand and appreciate and you live your life with this mentality that nothing belongs to you and everything belongs to Krishna, that is called Ishopanishad consciousness. Why is it that nothing belongs to me? Why is that nothing belongs to me?
Because Krishna is the proprietor of everything.
Okay. Neha Mataji.
Because I'm already complete and the creator.
I'm complete. So that's nothing belongs to me.
Yeah.
And is incomplete, so everything belongs to him. Yeah.
To understand that everything is created by Krishna, we are the ansh of Krishna. So the owner of everything is Krishna.
So simple answer is because everything is created by him. It's coming from him. So everything belongs to him. Nothing is created by me. Even my own body, which I say my body, is not created by me. Even this body is given to me by someone. Right? It's not created by me. Someone gave it to me. So everything is created by Krishna. That's why everything is owned by Krishna. And therefore Krishna says, this mantra says, Ishopanishad. Avas means stay, place where you reside. And this mantra says, Ishopanishad idam sarvam. Everywhere God resides. Why does God reside everywhere? Because every single thing belongs to him. If I have a house that belongs to me, I can live in that house. Then if I go to a guest house, a hotel, then I have to pay rent because that place does not belong to me. But because every place belongs to Krishna, he lives everywhere. That's the first line of this mantra. Ishopanishad idam sarvam. Yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Which all places, which all things, jagatyam jagat. All moving and non-moving, all living and inert, everything belongs to him. So what one should understand then? Since everything belongs to him, that Lord has given me something. I should remember that is my quota. That much I have. And outside that, I should not even put my eyes on that. Why? Ma gridaha kasya siddhanam. Remember, it does not belong to you. It belongs to someone else. So this is the principle to be followed, law to be followed, to experience that completeness. Let's look at the translation of this verse. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota. And one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. To whom they belong? To the Supreme Lord, not to me. So only accepting what is one's quota, what has been given to one. Accepting that. Can please mute yourself. Okay, something. Ishavasya. Let's look at this. Ishavasyam is made up of two words, Isha and Avasyam. The word Avasyam can mean differently. One meaning of the word Avasyam is to control. So Ishavasyam means something which is controlled by the Ishvara. The Lord controls everything. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Everything is controlled by him. Also, Avasyam means abode, a place where you live. So Ishavasyam means God lives everywhere. Since he lives everywhere, he controls everything. People may say this word Isha is used for Lord Shiva. Conventionally in the scriptures, the word Isha refers to Lord Shiva. Even when we talk about the trilogy, and we say Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Isha means Shiva. But here, it's not Shiva, which it means the Supreme Lord. Vedanta Deshika, South Indian, Ramanuja Sampradaya Acharya, he says that this Isha refers to Krishna or the Supreme Lord Vishnu, because it is already explained earlier that we are talking about the absolute truth, Purnam personality, not incomplete personality. Lord Shiva is not the origin of everything. That is clearly mentioned in all the scriptures. Like there is one Upanishad called Maha Upanishad. It says, in the beginning only Narayan existed, not Brahma, not even Shiva. Therefore here Isha refers to the Supreme Controller, who is the origin of Shiva also. Fine. Let's look at the, okay, we'll go to the previous slide. Idam sarvam. So though this idam is complete, this idam is dependent on adaha, the invocation we read. Idam sarvam refers to the visible part of the universe. And yatkinja jagatyam jagat refers to the invisible part of the universe, the other universes, the entire material creation, all that is moving and non-moving. And here the acharyas, they say everything is the property of that Supreme Lord. Yatkinja jagatyam jagat. So what you should do? Tena tyaktena bunjita ma gridaha kasya suddhanam. Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushana explains, he says, do two things. Now this is practical application. Two things. What are they? Tena tyaktena bunjita, accept what is set apart as your quota. And ma gridaha, do not hanker for more. Why? He says, kasya suddhana. Whenever that greed comes, then tell yourself that it's not yours. Remind yourself it belongs to Krishna, or it belongs to the Supreme Lord. And understand this wealth or whatever it is Krishna's property. So when one understands this or thinks about this, it's not mine, it is someone else. But that person has very kindly given it to me so that I can use it and be benefited. That mentality nurtures gratitude. When I think that this is mine, where is the question of gratitude? Because you start feeling, I deserve it. I'm entitled to it. Why should I be grateful towards it? Why should I thank anyone? Sometimes when kids, they grow up and they don't take care of the parents. So the parents may tell them that when you were children, we took care of you. And now when you are grown up, you're not taking care of us. So because they don't have gratitude, what they end up saying is, you did that because that was your duty. Don't think of me being grateful of that. You just did it because that was your duty after all. You didn't do it for us. You did it for yourself. So when a person starts thinking like that, then gratitude starts reducing. But when one thinks, I don't deserve it, it's not mine, but the other person has so kindly given it to me so that I can use it, I can be happy, then naturally gratitude comes. So Baladeva Vidyabhushana says, always remember what you have is not yours, it's given to you. That will make you more grateful person. And when you are more grateful person, you are more happy person. It's not mine, it's given to me. That's why you might have seen this, some devotees, whatever belongs to them, when they write their name on it, instead of writing just their name that it's mine, they say in care of. In care of. It is in care of me. It's not mine. It's just put in my care for some time. Right? So this mantra is not just teaching morality or ethics, the idea of being a good man, an honest man. It is taking us beyond ethics. This consciousness is called Ishopanishad consciousness. That we should accept only what is needed for us. And at the same time know that whatever we take, that is also not belonging to us, that belongs to God. He has given it to us. And be grateful for that. That is the reason when we read this purport, Srila Prabhupada will explain, being vegetarian is not sufficient. Because being vegetarian means you are an ethical person. I don't harm anyone. I'm not cruel. I'm kind-hearted, stuff like that. But he says that's not sufficient. We have to go to the next stage. That is, you thank Krishna for giving you food and you offer Krishna that food in gratitude. Right? Offer that to Krishna in gratitude. Because that food is not yours after all. That is also Krishna's. So you then offer it in gratitude. So this is a practical application of this verse, this mantra, sorry. And when we don't hanker for more, what happens is, it helps us to overcome greed. When I start telling myself that I don't need more, then the greed element will start reducing in me. I can overcome greed. If I tell, I don't need more, it's sufficient. I don't need more, it's sufficient. Okay. Fine. Now we'll look at the, this again, it has two sections, the first and the second, to promote these two mentalities. First, everything is dependent on the Lord. And therefore, second, what you should do is, you should become detached from the world. Why become detached? Because everything is not in my control. So get detached and let the controllership be in the hands of God. Because He can control things better than me. So be detached. Don't get attached to it. Fine. Let's go to the purport. Someone would like to read the first paragraph. Srila Prabhupada repeats what he has already mentioned in the introduction. That is there because I mentioned it before. Remember that Srila Prabhupada did not write the book Ishopanishad. It's a compilation of different articles he wrote in Bhakti-sastri magazine separately on different mantras. So they were all put together. So you'll find he repeats many things here and there. There's repetition. Okay, 18 people want to read. My God. Fine. First, Paramita Mataji, you can start.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Vedic knowledge is infallible because it comes down through the perfect disciplic succession of spiritual masters, beginning with the Lord Himself. Since He spoke the first word of Vedic knowledge, the source of this knowledge is transcendental. The words spoken by the Lord are called 𝗹𝗶𝗹𝗹, which indicates that they are not delivered by any mundane person. A living being who lives in the mundane world has four defects. He is certain to commit mistakes. He is subject to illusion. He has a propensity to cheat others, and his senses are imperfect. No one with these four imperfections can deliver perfect knowledge. The Vedas are not produced by such an imperfect creature. Vedic knowledge was originally imparted by the Lord into the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma, in his turn, disseminated this knowledge to his I can see it, Guruji, to his so-called to his sons and disciples, who have handed it down through history. Should I
Thank you.
continue?
Thank
Hare Krishna.
someone else can. Okay, next paragraph. So this paragraph is pretty simple. Next, Dev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, your grace, please accept my humble obeisances. Since the Lord is Punam, all perfect, there is no possibility of his being subjected to the law of material nature, which he controls. However, both the living entity and inanimate object are controlled by the laws of nature and ultimately by the Lord's potency. This Upanishad is part of the Yajurveda, and consequently, it contains information concerning the proprietorship of all things existing within the universe. The Lord proprietorship over everything.
Thank you, Prabhu. Someone else can read the next paragraph, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dev Manani Prabhu.
Notes from where, Prabhuji?
Where he stops from the same place.
Notes proprietorship over everything within the universe is confirmed in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita, 7.4 to 5, where para and apara prakriti are discussed. The elements of nature, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego, all belong to the Lord's inferior material energy, apara prakriti, whereas the living being, the organic energy, is his superior energy, para prakriti. Both of these prakritis or energies are emanations from the Lord, and ultimately he is the controller of everything that exists. There is nothing in the universe that does not belong to either the para or the apara prakriti. Therefore, everything is the property of the Supreme Being.
So it's an explanation given by Srila Prabhupada that since everything belongs to these two categories of energies, para and apara, and both of them come from Krishna, so everything belongs to Krishna. He is trying to prove these concepts using the other scriptures like Bhagavad-gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. So he says Bhagavad-gita also says the same thing. Ishopanishad is also saying the same thing. So it must be true. Next paragraph. Yes, Premavati Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Because the Supreme Being, the absolute personality of Godhead, is the complete person, he has complete and perfect intelligence to adjust everything by the means of his different potencies. The Supreme Being is often compared to a fire, and everything organic and inorganic is compared to the heat and light of that fire. Just as the fire distributes energies in the form of heat and light, the Lord displays his energies in different ways. He thus remains the ultimate controller, the sustainer and dictator of everything. He is the possessor of all potencies, the knower of everything, and the benefactor of everyone. He is full of inconceivable opulence, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Next paragraph. Okay, Neha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. One should therefore be, am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes.
One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that except for the Lord, no one is a proprietor of anything. One should accept only those things that are set aside by the Lord as his quota. The cow, for instance, gives milk, but she does not drink that milk. She eats grass and straw, and her milk is designated as food for human beings. Such is the arrangement of the Lord. Thus, we should be satisfied with those things he has kindly set aside for us. And we should always consider to whom those things we possess actually belong. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sripad gives a brilliant example here of a cow. He says cow produces milk, but she does not drink the milk. She eats grass. The milk is for someone else. The cow is not saying, no, I made this milk, I should drink it. No, cow produces milk, but for someone else. She eats grass. So here even the animal cow is so much free from this mentality that I made it, I own it, I should enjoy it. So why not a human being also learn that attitude? It's not just because I did it, it's mine, or I should be enjoying it. Right? So how do we understand this is my quota, like Ashok Prabhuji mentioned now? How do I know that this is my quota? This has been given to me. Very simple. Whatever comes to you by its own accord, that's your quota. That's your quota. If it's your quota, it will come to you. It's like, when a parent has 5, 8, 10 kids and the parent brings some sweet at home. So the parent will divide the share and put in the hands of the children. That's their quota. Now the parent is not biased. So the parent will accordingly, this is small baby, cannot eat so much. Okay, give me a small piece. This is big, can eat more, give a big piece. Parent decides. Likewise, the Lord decides for different people what is their quota. So someone put a comment, should we not try for more? That means we should not work hard. We should work hard, but we should not work like a crazy person. We should work hard, but we should not be over ambitious. We should work hard because that's good for body if you work hard. But we should work within a limit. That's why we'll study in Updeshamrit, nectar of instruction. One instruction for a devotee is don't over endeavor. Don't do endeavor more than required. Do endeavor how much it is required. Not more than that. So as per the scriptures, whatever amount of wealth you can accrue by giving 6 hours in a day for your profession, that is your quota. More than that, whatever you get, that's extra. 6 hours. Whatever you can earn in 6 hours, that's yours.
Prabhuji,
So you,
one question.
yes.
Can I ask? I just
Yes.
want to know, Prabhuji, if it is a quota which is, it is due to us, it is given to us, even if we don't work hard for it, will it come automatically to us?
Yeah, it will come to you.
Automatically?
Yeah, I'm not working hard. And I do get what I am supposed to get. I do get what I'm supposed to get. And I'm not working very, very hard. I do get what I'm supposed to get. Everyone will get that. Actually, even if you don't do, you'll get it. But it doesn't mean that you don't have to work at all. You have to work. No? The example is given is, let's say there's a farmer. So that farmer has to put the seeds in the ground. Then rain will come. Those seeds will sprout into crops, right? Now the farmer says, I'll not put the seeds also. Then it's not going to help. The farmer has to at least do the part of sowing the seeds. Then the rains will come and the rains will make the crops grow. Then you'll have a good harvest, correct? Now, if the farmer says, no, it's all my hard work alone. You do so much hard work and the rains don't come, then what? Then you don't get anything, right? So the scriptures
Can I ask
say,
a question?
let me conclude now first. So the scriptures say there are two ways of approaching life, karmavad and daivavad. Daivavad people are those who say everything is based on your destiny, so you did not do anything. So then you become a lazy fellow, you know. And the karmavad philosophy is everything is based on your hard work. You work hard, you get results. Then you become over-ambitious person. So both of these approaches are wrong. The right approach is you do your part, and then at the same time you should know that the result is not really decided by you. That's because of your past. It will come to you as much as you are supposed to get. And if you try to get more than that, then that is called encroachment. You know encroachment? You have been given a house, a land, and your neighbor has a land, and then you try to take some piece of land from that neighbor. It's called encroachment. So that's called encroachment. Your greed is more. So a person who knows this, who understands this, knows, okay, I have to put a certain amount of efforts. That much amount of efforts, whatever it will bring to me, that's my quota. So you put your efforts. You put your efforts, but not you put too much of efforts. You know. Now, by putting too much of efforts, if you are getting more, we may think, you see, I'm so smart person. I'm working hard. I'm getting so much more. You know, I'm getting more and more rich. I'm increasing my empire. I'm becoming more successful than what I could have been. So that is only an illusion, because if it has come to you, it will very quickly also go out of your hand. It will not stay with you. It will come, but it will not stay. So at the end, you know, when you make a balance sheet, right? You know the balance sheet. I gained this much, I lost this much. You make a balance sheet of all of that, then it will exactly come to what your quota is. Exactly, it will come to that at the end of the life. So it's like that. Okay, yes, question, Anit Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandasanam. Prabhuji, my question is that what if the farmer works very hard, but he works hard because he wants to dedicate the fruits of his hard work for the Supreme Lord? Is that allowed?
That's okay. Even if you work very hard, the soil will give that much amount of crop only. The other thing can be what? Let me take the agricultural lands of other farmers. In this way, I'll increase my, my produce. Because if that farmer has a specific amount of land, that land will, how much ever hard you work, that land will give that much result only, no? So other thing would be what? Let me buy other agricultural fields. Let me have more laborers working under me. In that way, let me increase my agricultural empire. Correct? So is that not encroachment? Because that field is also supposed to be for someone else.
If that someone else wants to sell to you, and you are buying it because you are dedicated.
No, that someone else wants to sell it to you. But if let's say that person is selling to you out of greed, why should I do something which will facilitate that person's greed? Because it's not just about I should be a very dharmic person. I should also encourage others to be dharmic, no? Correct, isn't it? I should encourage others also to be dharmic. Why should I alone be dharmic?
And if it is not greed?
It will be greed. Why it will not be greed? Greed means what? When I have something sufficient for me and I just want more, that's called greed. That is greed. Because I don't need it and I want it. So therefore, if you look at the Dharma Shastras, we generally don't go into those aspects much. But if you study the Dharma Shastras, if you look at people in the past, even Brahmanas, they never accepted more than what they needed. If they got it, they would just give it away. They never hoarded, they never accumulated. Why? Because if I'm accumulating it, I am depriving someone else from that particular thing. To give you an example, now let's say a person is living in a city. One car is sufficient for that person. But then that person buys 10 cars. So now by doing that, that person will travel in one car only at a time. One person means one car. Forget about that person's family. That is one person living in the family, only one person, but has 10 cars. So what is that person doing then? He's actually depriving other people from those 9 cars, because the nature will produce to a certain limit. After that, the nature will stop producing. Now, at the present time, we are coming to that point. At the present time, why some people are living in so much of lacking and some people are living in so much of abundance? Because the planet has a certain amount of produce. And those who are living in abundance, they are just hoarding things. And those people who are unfortunate, they don't get. Take commodities, take land, take anything. That's what happens. That's what happens. So when a person understands that just accumulating things is a very, very, silent crime, because you are depriving others of what they can get, then a person stops doing that, because one understands indirectly I'm causing pain to others, I'm causing suffering to others. Because we should know one thing, that even people understand is that the earth would produce a specific amount of things that's quite fixed. Sometimes it may increase, sometimes it may decrease. So Ishavasya principle means you understand this much is your share and you just be happy with that. That's all. In that way, you don't indirectly, unconsciously offend anyone or cause pain to anyone. That's how it is. Okay, fine. Let's read next paragraph. What if the 9 cars are used for spiritual purposes? How much you'll use it for spiritual purpose? How much?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So I'd ask that question. So if I'm using 1 car, but let's say, giving all my 9 cars for delivering food or whatever to the ISKCON temple close by, is that okay? Would that be, still infringing my quota?
You see, if you look at Srila Prabhupada's life, we should follow the footsteps of Mahajanas. In Mahabharata, it says, Mahajano yena gataha sapanta. The Mahajanas, they know the scriptural rules and they follow them perfectly. So how do we know whether what we are doing is encroachment or not? How do we decide that? So we follow by the example set by the previous acharyas. So how did previous acharyas, they lived their life? Did they accumulate things? No. They gave away. And they also did not live with this insecurity. What if I need in future? Because they had faith. If I need in future, Krishna will provide. One thing, of course, this is a bit controversial. For ISKCON society, Srila Prabhupada made a policy, which, of course, it's difficult to follow. But it's difficult to follow because we don't have that much faith. So Srila said, in ISKCON, I don't want to hoard money. I don't want to hoard money. Let money come, let money be used. If I need it tomorrow, Krishna will send. I will not hoard money. Because I have faith on Krishna. Tomorrow I need money, Krishna will provide. So that this kind of mentality is because of that kind of faith. I don't save for tomorrow. If I need tomorrow, Krishna will provide. Because if I save, I hoard, I'm depriving someone else. I'm depriving someone else. Think about it. Let's say today is 16th of April. Today, a certain amount of food has been produced. And this food has been produced by the Supreme Lord in the planet for all the people living on this planet. So he has given, let's say, 2 bread loaves for one person, 10 bread loaves for another person, 15 bread loaves for another person, half for someone, right? That's the earthly produce directed by Krishna. I am supposed to get 2 loaves, but I accumulate 20 or 200 for the whole week to come. So what am I doing? There is someone's share which I am keeping for myself. There is someone's share. So then it is indirectly causing suffering to that person. Right? Isn't it? Correct? So that's what it means. Like, to give you an example, you arrange for a feast and you invite 100 people to your house. So those people cannot eat together because there's not sufficient space. So you make batches. Okay, 25 people sit now, then 25 next, then 25 next, then 25 next. Now you have exactly made for 100 people. Fine. Now, first 25 people, they sit and eat, and then they start packing food. We'll take some home also. What will happen then? What will happen? For those from who you had made the arrangement, they will be deprived. Correct? Because you made the arrangement for 100. So those 25 should be very mature and sensitive. If we take more, then the others will not get. Right? Same principle here. God has made an arrangement. I should be happy with whatever I need. Leave the rest. Now, this is very subtle. The more we have this accumulating mentality, we cannot chant Hare Krishna attentively. Pure name will not come out of our mouth. Why? Because you cannot chant pure name without being completely non-violent. This is quite high level of non-violence. People, they are so violent that they cannot even distinguish between eating meat and eating vegetarian food. For them, if just they are vegetarian, then they are like, we are so non-violent. But actually, violence has different degrees, right? Different levels. So this is also violence, encroaching upon someone else's quota. Okay, so these principles have to be understood, and to whatever extent we can apply in life, we should start applying in life. And slowly come out of that mentality. All right. Yes. Okay, let's move on.
Prabhuji, I have one question. Can I ask you now?
Okay. Yes, ask Prabhu.
Prabhuji, now since you are saying that the produce is fixed on a particular date, we have also seen that produce, if it is not sold on that particular date, it goes, tomatoes or many vegetables, they go stale and they have to be thrown out. So we can say that had we bought it, at least those things would not have been,
You see, again, why there is such kind of mismanagement? Because why is it produced more? It's artificially produced more. Nowadays, whatever is being produced in such huge quantities, do you think that's the natural provide? So many artificial means of getting things. So many artificial means, exploiting the Mother Earth, right? Harming the Mother Earth. Do you think naturally you can get so much of milk what is available in India in the market today? It's not possible. It's all artificially made, by injecting so many hormones into the bodies of cows, then using suction pumps, withdrawing milk from their udders, causing pain to them, then mixing so many different kinds of chemicals. So there is greed in the mentality of producers also, no? So that's there. Naturally, the nature will provide to a certain extent, and that will not be less, that will be sufficient, But because of greed, a person wants to do more. Now you go to the market, before the fruit is ripe, it is already plucked. And then they inject, different chemicals into it so that it looks very ripe. But when it looks nice. When you cut it, it's still raw. Greed only, isn't it? They do not have the patience for the fruits to get completely ripe and then they can sell it. They want money today. So that happens, no? That's happening. It's happening. So much of now, I'm in the, Saudi Arabia now. So much of oil produced. Actually, if you study Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada says that removing so much of oil from the planet is a sinful activity because it destroys the ecological balance of the whole planet. It's a sinful activity. But so much oil is being produced. New and new gas plants, oil plants, drilling deep into the earth to remove the oil so that we can make different industries and have vehicles and transportation facilities. This all is violence. It's called Ugra Karma. Ugra Karma, it's a sinful activity. So this is because of greed. Because of greed. So Ishavasya principle, to understand it, we have to really go very subtle. We may not be able to practice everything, of course. Our life situation may not allow that. But at least we should not have that false pride that what we are doing is something very nice. Right? Not that, puffed up ego. Oh, we are so advanced people. What we are doing, people in the past could not do. You see, our ancestors, they were so barbaric and uncivilized, and we have developed so much. That leads to a sense of ego and false pride, which is very unhealthy for spiritual life, actually. Right? Okay, next paragraph. Take, for example, someone read this. Okay, let me see who did not read yesterday. Ragini Mataji, Ragini Verma. To unmute yourself,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Take for example our dwelling, which is made for earth, wood, stone, iron, cement, and so many other materials things. If we think in terms of Sri Ishopanishad, we must know that we cannot produce any of these building material ourselves. We can simply bring them together and transform them into different shape by our labor. A laborer cannot claim to be a proprietor of a things just because he has worked hard to manufacture it. Should I continue?
No. So here, Srila Prabhupada is another good example. Like he says, this used to happen before also. You hire a carpenter and you tell that carpenter, for the number of days you are going to work, you can stay at my home. I'll give you 3 meals a day. I'll provide you all the materials that you need, and you work on those things. And at the end, you make this almirah, you make this sofa, you make these chairs and tables. So all the hard work is done by the carpenter. But even though he makes all this furniture, he cannot claim that to be his, because the ingredients were provided by the owner. Likewise, whatever we do, we are playing with the natural resources, factories, whatever we produce, it's all given to us by nature. Every single thing, nothing is ours. So we manipulate it, we craft it, we design it, and then we say it's mine. How come it's yours? It is given to you by someone. You just manipulated it. So it's not yours. It is that person's. I just crafted it, manipulated it. It's not mine, right? So if that carpenter starts thinking it's mine, then that carpenter will be called a thief, because the raw material was provided by someone else. So similarly, when people start thinking it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, then basically that person becomes a thief. It's not yours. Next paragraph. Vindarani Mataji.
Hare Krishna. In modern society, there is always a great quarrel between the laborers and capitalists. This quarrel has taken an international shape, and the world is in danger. Men face one another in enmity and snarl just like cats and dogs. Sri Ishopanishad cannot give advice to the cats and dogs, but it can deliver the message of Godhead to men through the bona fide acharyas, holy teachers. The human race should take the Vedic wisdom of Sri Ishopanishad and not quarrel over material possessions. One must be satisfied with whatever privileges are given to him by the mercy of the Lord. There can be no peace in the There can be no peace if the communist or capitalist or any other party claims proprietorship over the resources of nature, which are entirely in the property of the Lord. The capitalists cannot curb the communists simply by political maneuvering, nor can the communists defeat the capitalists simply by fighting for stolen bread. If they do not recognize the proprietorship of the Supreme Lord of Godhead, all the property that claim to be their own is stolen. Thank you. Consequently, they will be liable to punishment by the laws of nature. Nuclear bombs are in the hands of both communists and capitalists, and if both do not recognize the proprietorship of the Supreme Lord, it is certain that these bombs will ultimately ruin both parties. Thus, in order to save themselves and bring peace to the world, both parties must follow the instructions of Sri Ishopanishad.
Yes. Now, Srila Prabhupada is such a brilliant person. You know, he's bringing this mantra to our level. How do we apply in life? So he's taken a social problem, you can say, or a political issue. There are two kinds of mentalities. One is capitalist mentality, another is communist mentality. So communist mentality is everything for the state, and capitalist mentality is everything for me. So, you know, some countries, they claim themselves to be communist countries like China. Russia used to be like that before. And there are some communist parties also. So they say, whatever is there in this world, it belongs to people. So let us divide everything equally and share with everyone so that everyone is happy. You know, so everything belongs to the people, to the state. You divide everything equally, you share with all, everyone will be happy. No one will be in dirt. So as per them, there should not be a rich class, a poor class, a high class, a low class. All human beings are at the same platform. Let them be treated equally. But this is just an utopian idea. In reality, nothing like that happens. All the communist countries where the communist directors, they claim so that we live for the people, at the end, they become the richest person in the country. Right? But their whole philosophy is everyone should be equal. So it doesn't work like that. And then capitalist mentality is what is so much prominent in India these days, that those who are rich, they should keep on becoming richer and richer, and those who are poor, let them become poorer and poorer. So a particular class grows and a particular class never grows. That's capitalist mentality. Shopping malls, multinational corporations, all that is capitalist mentality. Let me become more and more powerful, wealthy, more than others. If you think about the mall concept, the shopping mall concept, shopping malls are very dangerous for the society. How? Because they kill the economy of small-time businessmen who are very happy with small shops, selling few items, earning little money. But when the mall comes, one mall, it basically removes the business of so many people. And the whole profit goes to whom? One person, one owner, right? Isn't it? That's the capitalist mentality. Let me increase my empire. It's not very healthy. It's very dangerous because it makes others suffer. It makes others suffer. They have to suffer for that. And this is something which even economists, they study, when they study what effect such policies have on the economy of the country, of the market, of the people, it has a very bad effect on it. Very bad effect on it. Okay. So here Sripad mentioned. So what is the solution? The property belongs to people, to the state, to me? No, the solution is belongs to Krishna. Belongs to Bhagavan, right? And then it should be divided from its people based on what they deserve and how much they can handle. So you give to them accordingly. Earlier, the Kshatriya king who would rule very nicely would make sure that this is how the society is divided. He would make sure everyone is happy and everyone gets his quota or his share. He would make sure that. He would make sure that by education, and he would also make sure that by enforcement of law. If you take more, then you're punished. Right? But now we don't have such kind of influential people who can control the public, the crowd, the citizens in that manner. So because of that, some people are growing rapidly and others are, their economical status in life is degrading. Next paragraph. Let's read the next paragraph. Satish Prabhu, human beings are not.
Human beings are not meant to quarrel like cats and dogs. They must be intelligent enough to realize the importance and the aim of human life. The Vedic literature is meant for humanity and not for cats and dogs. Cats and dogs can kill other animals for food without incurring sin. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste buds, he is responsible for breaking the laws of nature. Consequently, he must be punished.
Yes. Human beings means more responsibility. Let's read the next paragraph. Vaishnava.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. The standard of life for human beings cannot be applied to animals. The tiger does not eat rice and wheat or drink cow's milk because he's been given food in the shape of animal flesh. Among the many animals and birds, some are vegetarian and others are carnivorous, but none of them transgress the laws of nature, which have been ordained by the will of the Lord. Animals, birds, reptiles, and other lower life forms strictly adhere to the laws of nature. Therefore, there is no question of sin for them, nor are the Vedic instructions meant for them. Human life alone is a life of responsibility. Hare Krishna.
A tiger eats flesh because a tiger is allowed to eat flesh. A cow eats grass. She's allowed to eat grass. Similarly, human beings, they are supposed to eat certain things, not eat certain things, do certain things, not do certain things. They should just do that. Simple. But human beings are the most corrupt species on the in the universe, most corrupt species, because they don't do what they're supposed to do. Everyone else does what they're supposed to do, but human beings don't. So then they have to suffer the karma, because what is expected from them is much more. Now, Srila Prabhupada mentions that why is it so difficult for an animal to get the 4 basic necessities of life, and for a human, those things are available so easily, so that a human being can save time for Krishna consciousness. But what people do is that, I'm getting things easily, now let me try to get them more and more and more and more. Instead of using that time for Krishna consciousness, be more rich, be more powerful, be a great celebrity, get name and fame, become like a king, become like a queen. Miss the point. Time was given to you, opportunity was given to you for cultivating something else. But instead of doing that, I started just doing that animal business in a more, you can say in a more sophisticated manner, with much more greed and ambition. So then that kind of human being is punished by the nature. You are not qualified to get a human body. Go back to animal life. Right? That's why he says human being means it's a serious responsibility. Practicing bhakti, Krishna consciousness is not an optional thing. Once I am a human being, I am meant to do that, because I am made for doing that. It's not an optional thing. I have to do it. It's not my choice. I must do it. Next paragraph. Achyuta Priya Kishori Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. It's wrong, however, to think that simply by becoming a vegetarian one can avoid transgressing the laws of nature. Vegetables also have life, and while it's nature's law that one living being is meant to feed on another, for human beings the point is to recognize the Supreme Lord. Thus, one should not be proud of being a strict vegetarian. Animals do not have developed consciousness by which to recognize the Lord, but a human being is sufficiently intelligent to take lessons from the Vedic literature and thereby know how the laws of nature are working and derive profit out of such knowledge. If a man neglects the instructions of Vedic literature, his life becomes very risky. A human being is therefore required to recognize the authority of the Supreme Lord and become his devotee. He must offer everything for the Lord's service and partake only of the remnants of food offered to the Lord. This will enable him to discharge his duty properly. In the Bhagavad-gita 9.26, the Lord directly states that he accepts vegetarian food from the hands of a pure devotee. Therefore, a human being should not only become a strict vegetarian, but should also become a devotee of the Lord. Offer the Lord all his food and then partake of such prasadam or the mercy of God. Only those who act in this way can properly discharge the duties of human life. Those who do not offer their food to the Lord eat nothing but sin and subject themselves to various types of distress, which are the results of sin. Bhagavad-gita 3.13. Hare Krishna.
So Sripad very clearly explains here, being vegetarian is not sufficient. We should be honoring Krishna Prasadam. I know some devotees, of course, that's a very high standard. If they don't go to the food should come to them. Then only they eat. Which means they'll not go shopping. They don't go to Hare Krishna restaurant, Govindas, and buy from there. They'll not go to any sweet shop, nothing. They will eat when someone brings them food. Because this much faith is there. If I am supposed to eat, Krishna will provide me today. If I am not supposed to eat, Krishna will not provide me today. So I won't eat. Because it's not in my quota. So I have seen literally, even if that person has money and that person can buy, still that person will never go to a shop to buy prasadam. Never. Because if it is prasadam and Krishna wants me to eat prasadam or honor prasadam, prasadam should come to me. That much of understanding and application of this principle that we need to depend on Krishna for our maintenance. Of course, it cannot be done by everyone because everyone is not on that level of faith. Right? But there are examples, not 1,000 years ago, even present times, there are such devotees. They never they will eat buy prasadam. Never they buy prasadam. Prasadam means it should come to you, and whatever quantity comes. If it just no, Krishna, they don't put Krishna in position to serve them. Krishna is providing to everyone, so they will also get by their personal past, whatever they're supposed to get by that past, they will get. They will get. It's not that Krishna is going to make special endeavors to provide to them. They will get. So they have that faith that it will come to me. It's like that, So such extreme degrees of examples are also. What about grihasthas? You see, different ashramas, they allow you to approach this principle in a different manner. Like, for example, a grihastha is allowed to accumulate. Fine. It's okay with a grihastha. You can accumulate to some extent because there is emergency situation and it's a big family, so you have to provide for all. So grihasthas are allowed to do saving. You save for tomorrow, you save for next month, you save for 1 year. It's allowed. But then that also has a limit. Not that keep on accumulating more and more and more and more and more. It has a limit. Save to some extent. Not more than that. So grihasthas, yes, they can save. They can save. That's allowed in that ashram to save. But sannyasi, not at all allowed. Not at all allowed. Cannot save. Right? So this is what is Krishna, Prabhupada explaining here. And the last paragraph, I'll quickly read the last paragraph, then we'll take a break. The last paragraph is, the root of sin is deliberate disobedience to the laws of nature through disregarding the proprietorship of the Lord. Disobeying the laws of nature or the order of the Lord brings ruin to a human being. Conversely, one who is sober, who knows the laws of nature, is not influenced by unnecessary attachment or aversion, is sure to be recognized by the Lord and thus become eligible to go back to Godhead, back to the eternal home. And we'll take a break. Then let's see if you have any more questions on this topic before we go to the next mantra. Hare Krishna. So we completed this chapter. Yes, this mantra. Any questions now? These hands are up for questions. Or Srinivas Gopal Prabhu, is it a question? Not there.
Hare Krishna.
Wait a second. Okay. Ragini Matri, do you have a question? Or is it for reading?
It's for reading, Prabhuji.
You can lower your hand if it's for reading.
Okay.
Otherwise, I will be able to know who's for question, who's for reading. Keep your hand up only if you have a question. Otherwise, you can lower your hands. Yes, Venkat Chaitanya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhuji. It is a small question. Whether here it has mentioned as mantra too, mantra and sloka. You said me once, but I forgot. Can you please differentiate mantra and sloka?
Okay, the difference is mantras are verses that belong to the category of Shruti-sastri, Upanishads, etc. And shlokas are those which belong to Smriti-sastri. So mantras are to be chanted only by brahmanas. Shlokas can be chanted by anyone. There's no mistake while chanting shlokas, but one can do mistakes while chanting mantras by not making the right pronunciation, not having the right accent, not speaking for the correct duration of time. So then that's why there is then ill consequences of not chanting the mantras correctly. And if they are not chanted correctly, they don't give the desired result. But when it comes to shlokas, it's not like that. No hard and fast rule as such. That's a difference.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you. Dev Prabhu.
That we should not work too much. So what is the definition of too much?
I already told you. 6 hours.
But some businesses and some jobs are like time constraints. For example, textile business, the customer can come at any moment.
Yeah, so you keep your shop off. If you think like that, then the customer can come anytime. At night, 12 p.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 10 p.m., 10 a.m., right? Customer can come anytime. So that should not be the approach. The approach should be this much. The best thing is you make your policy. 6 hours is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur said. Okay, cannot do 6, make it 8. Cannot make 8, do with 8, make it 10. But then make a policy. Not more than 10. Not more than 11. Not more than 12. Make a policy. And then start from there. Right? So, okay, 9 hours job. Fine. So 9 hours, but not more than 9 hours. No. Otherwise, you'll get carried away. Mode of passion, Rajoguna will push you. 9, make it 10. 10, make it 11. 11, make it 12. That's what mode of passion will do.
We fix our daily sadhana and daily service and complete it and then work for many hours we have.
You increase your sadhana. Yeah, increase your sadhana, yes. If you have extra free time, then why increase your business? Increase your sadhana. Srila Prabhupada, the kind of sadhana he has designed, that's not for brahmacharis and sannyasis. That is what he expects from grihasthas. Minimum 7 to 8 hours of Krishna consciousness every day. Brahmachari sannyasi, 24 hours of Krishna consciousness every day. Grihasthas, 7 to 8 hours. If you want to go back, come back to Godhead. If you want to live a pious life in this material world, okay, that's fine. 2 hours, 3 hours is okay. You want to go back, come back to Godhead, that is the standard. You know? So that is expected, and that's how it was designed. So do we do that? No, we don't do that. We chant 2 hours, finish. What about reading? No. Lecture hearing? No. Seva? No. Sadhu Sangha? No. Chanting done? My quota is done. Finish. Right. So that's not going to help. That's why you make a policy. Okay, fine. These many hours I work now. No problem. I'm a young boy now or man now. I'm going to get married. I'm married. I have kids. Fine. All right. Work more now. But then have a plan. I cannot be like this for my whole life. So if I'm working 12 hours now, a time should come when this becomes 10. A time should come when this becomes 8. A time should come when this becomes 6. Okay. All right. So we have some more. What about doctors and some professions in public services? Yeah, that's the problem. That's why if you had a choice, don't go into that profession. But if you're all into that profession, then you have no choice. You know, if you had a choice, don't go into that profession. If you are into that profession now what to do? So if someone asks me, he's not yet decided his or her career, I never tell that person become a police officer. I never tell that person become an army officer. I never tell that person become a doctor. Never. Why? Because it's not really conducive for Krishna consciousness. Not really conducive for Krishna consciousness. So why? If you have another choice, why not go for that? But you are already into it now, what can be done? So then fine, manage it as much as possible. Right? Manage it. When I was sitting for my job interview, I got a very good offer. And I rejected that offer just because they wanted me to do night shift. I said, you pay me 10 times, I'll not do it for you. I don't want such a job. Night shift means what? I won't be able to get up in the morning, chant my japa, forget it. No, I don't want such a job. So what is my priority? You know, what I want to achieve in life. Based on that, we have to make decisions, right? Okay. Please don't ask me to give you career counseling, you know, about CA, doctor, engineer, everything. You have to use your intelligence and understand how we're going to apply these principles in the life. Srinivas Gopal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanat Pranam Prabhuji. It's me, Prabhuji.
Yes, I took your name.
Okay, Prabhuji. Sorry, I could not hear properly. Prabhuji, just this is the practical question. When comparing temples and then the system they follow, like Prabhupada has mentioned, like capitalist and the communist, and then we should not be greed and all these things. But if you go any temple, anywhere, even it's ISKCON or outside, everything is measured by money only. Like if you pay money, then you get a better darshan and better prasadam. And then even for the VIP darshan, even in ISKCON also in everywhere, it is all when the money is getting by when person is doing an endeavor or he's by karma or he gets that money. And unless he doesn't work hard or by hook or crook, he earns the money. Even if you see Balaji Tirupati also, the VIP gets, the politicians gets the best darshan and everything. And even in ISKCON also, we endeavor to build new temples and then accumulate money. This all comes under capitalism only. So the capitalism or...
So, fine, I agree with you. So where am I saying it's correct?
That's what I'm saying. How we draw the line, how we understand to keep our mind, in bhakti and all these things.
So why do you have to look at what's going wrong in the institute? You look at your life, no?
Yeah. No, we are also falling in some like donation to Kalasha or Abhishekam. All we have to for. If you are not doing that, you are not. If you are not doing that, you are not be neglected. It's like you are not a devotee. Like it falls like that. So you are earning Gurvastha.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Then you are a sentimental devotee. Because for you, what is social norm matters more than what is the instruction of the scripture.
No, for a devotee, how we have to drive in this aspect? You give me that answer, Prabhuji. Like how we have to as a devotee.
It's very simple. If you understand the principle you follow in life, regardless of people around you, they are following or not. That's a different thing. Now, when let's say you will be judged for how you lived your life, you can never give this excuse. Oh, people around me were like this, people were like that, they were doing this, they were doing that. At the end, it will be all on you. How did you manage? How did you behave? On what basis did you take your decisions? Right? So whether it is Tirupati Balaji, whether it is ISKCON temple, whether it is this or it is that, how things are happening, that's not in your control and you should not be bothered much about it. What is important is Srila Prabhupada wrote Ishopanishad for you also. And Srila Prabhupada wrote Ishopanishad for others also. Now, when you are reading Ishopanishad, how much you are understanding it, how much you are applying in your life, on that basis, Srila Prabhupada will judge you. Or Krishna will judge you, right? Whether other members of the society are not following or not following, that's their business. Correct? So we have to use our intelligence. It doesn't mean that because I have joined ISKCON, I'll be blindly following everything that's happening in ISKCON. I have to use my intelligence. Otherwise, why are the scriptures there? Okay? That means you decide, okay, is it correct? Is it wrong? Is it real?
Hare Krishna, I lost.
I think Prabhuji's connection has dropped, so he'll join back again.
Okay, Mataji. I'm just I'm thinking it's something problem with my connection.
No. I think maybe he'll just join back in some time.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. I'm sorry, I had an internet disconnection. So I was explaining that the scriptures are made available to us, and we need to understand them and see how do we apply them in our life. Now you're talking about darshan. Let's say you mentioned you go to Tirupati Balaji, you pay extra money, you get a more privileged darshan. My dear devotee, Prabhuji, do you think by your paying extra money, Krishna got pleased with you? You got Krishna's darshan, but did Krishna see you? Right? When you are a sentimental devotee, you think so, that by paying extra money, you get a better darshan. But that person is standing in the queue, Krishna will bless that person more than you, because that person is really paying the price to see Krishna. And you make a VIP entry. You spend that money which you have not honestly earned, and you get a ticket, and then you go in the front, and then you say, wow, I saw Krishna. Really? Did you see? And did Krishna see you? No. So when you understand the scriptures, then you also think in the right way. It's foolishness to think that I have paid money, so I'm getting better darshan. What darshan? What better darshan? Right? So a devotee who understands the scriptures will not even think like that. Rather, how I should be, how should my approach be? That, okay, let's say I don't have time, I have to rush, and I have to catch my flight, and there's such a long queue, and I must at least once catch a glimpse of Krishna. So what I should do is, instead of paying money and then doing some gimmick to be in the front, I should stand there and pray very fervently to Krishna, that Krishna, if you want, please make an arrangement that I get your darshan. And then Krishna will do his magic, no? Why you want the money to do the magic?
Prabhuji, one more thing, Prabhuji. But a grihastha, if you earn more, or he was telling it is a greed. But a spiritual, like a devotee who's trying to build temples more and more.
That is also greed.
Yeah,
Rupa Goswami says, don't make too many temples. There's no point in making more temples. And the temples are then empty and only birds live in those temples. Right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
What's the point in building a structure? Do you think Krishna lives in the temple? Krishna lives where devotees live. Temple is only a facility to help devotees to come together to serve Krishna. Otherwise, Krishna is not interested in we making monuments and just putting the deity of Krishna, and once in a week, one puja will go ring some bells and give Krishna some food. You are a hungry man, eat some food. That's not bhakti, na? Right? So we should know, like this particular organization, is there nothing bad about it? Swami Narayan. They're just making more and more big and big temples. But what are those temples? Those temples are nothing more than tourist areas, tourist sites. People just go there, have good fun time there, click photographs and come back.
Yes.
So we should not lose the essence. Temple, the purpose of any temple is it should facilitate prachar. If there is no prachar, people are not becoming devotees, people are not serving Krishna, there is no need of a temple structure. And second thing, we should also know that, you see, there are levels of devotional service. To chant Krishna's name is much more dear to Krishna than to give Krishna some dollars.
Yeah.
So who should earn money and give to Krishna? Who cannot chant holy names? But who can chant, who can read Bhagavad-gita, who can serve Krishna by doing service, personal service to the deity form of Krishna. That person should not leave these services to go out, earn money, and then tell, okay, I'll give you money to make a temple for you. So we should know the scripture injunctions, they are for whom? Let's say a person is there. He or she cannot do anything in life than make money.
But
Then
Prabhuji,
you tell
what
that
is
person, you tell
but
that
what
person,
is
use your money in Krishna Seva. But if there is a person who can peacefully sit and chant, peacefully and study Bhagavad-gita, recite shlokas for Krishna's pleasure, plug garlands, make mala for Krishna. If you tell that person, leave this seva, go make money and make temples for Krishna, Krishna will not be happy with that. No? Krishna will not be happy with that. I'll tell you a real incident. Srila Prabhupada had a disciple living in Mayapur. So that devotee told, I will go to Calcutta, I'll study medical science, I'll become a doctor. Srila said, why? So that I can come to Mayapur and I'll do free treatment to all the devotees. Very nice, no? Nothing wrong about it.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. But Srila said, no. He said, I'll give you a better idea. What? You go to Kolkata, you preach to the doctors there, you make them full-time devotees and you bring them to Mayapur. A better idea. Why a better idea? Because to live in the Dham and to serve Krishna is much more important to go to Calcutta and make money and then bring it to Krishna. Our problem is that what is a higher position? Because of our wrong education, we see it as lower position. And what is lower position? We see it as higher position. Right? We think you earn a lot of money and then you give it to Krishna. That makes you a very special devotee because you are providing to Krishna. You are a provider and Krishna is the receiver. That's fine. If a person is at that level of consciousness, you do that. But a higher level of consciousness is what? What can I provide? Krishna is maintainer. Let me sit and chant here. Whatever I need will come to me. But I should give pleasure to Krishna directly. Right? So we have to understand Siddhanta nicely. And then wherever we are, we can act from that platform. Okay. Next question. Anita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I just have a comment. So I was reading in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the Canto 8, cosmic creations, which are of the cosmic creation. In the same verse there, this is the same thing. Here it says Isha Vase Idam Sarvam. There it says
it's similar. It is similar. Yes, it is similar.
Use your own quota. That's the same.
Yes, similar. Exactly. Yes. Next, Dev Prabhu.
It is mentioned in the Bhagavad-gita that Krishna is our eternal best friend. And but throughout the whole scriptures and other scriptures like Ishopanishad, the idea is that we should worship Krishna. So if Krishna is our best friend, then why we should see him as God?
Because he's God also, along with being your best friend.
But that will change our consciousness, right?
Why it should change the consciousness? If the prime minister of the country is your best friend, then you should tell that person, don't be a prime minister anymore now, because you're my best friend. You will remain the prime minister also, right? So Krishna is God. At the same time, he's your friend. So why your problem with his being God then?
He is God, that is fine.
God. It's God, his
But
friend. So I have to accept like that, no? Here it doesn't mean because he's God, then now you should start, fearing him in that manner. Friend, when Krishna says, I am everyone's friend, we should understand what it means. That Krishna is going to provide for, Krishna is going to take care for, Krishna is going to help, and he's doing that for everyone. That's what friendship here means. Here Krishna is not talking about I have Sakya Ras with everyone. Right? his friend of all, from his side. Different people now, they will have different rasas or approach towards Krishna. But that doesn't mean that everyone has Sakhya feelings for Krishna. From Krishna's side, he's a friend. Next question. Anushka Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you talked about quota. I wanted to ask, is it only applicable to material things, or is it applicable to spiritual endeavor, intelligence, or advancement? Like in the context of devotional service, if I'm entitled to, if I've been given a certain, I'm restricted by the quota, so I'm entitled to do only as much seva as has been provided in the quota.
Yes. In spiritual life also we have quota.
So
it's called adhikar, qualification. Not everyone is equally qualified. But that adhikar can be increased. But at a certain time, I have a certain adhikar. I cannot do more than that. Like, to give an example, do you think my adhikar or your adhikar to serve Krishna is the same as that of Srila Prabhupada? It will never be the same. You know why? Because Srila Prabhupada never ever made the decision of rejecting Krishna. But we as conditioned souls, we made that decision. So his eligibility to serve Krishna and his capacity to serve Krishna will always be more than us. Always, eternally. You know, that's called adhikar. So in spiritual realm also, different personalities, they have different levels of adhikar to serve Krishna. It's not the same. It's not the same. You know? So we have our adhikar to do seva, we have our adhikar to do sadhana. We will be able to do that much only. We can increase it, and that happens by grace or kripa. That's why in the morning we sing Tulsi Aarti. Ei nivedana dhara sakhiran vukatakara seva adhikara diye koro nijadasi. You're not asking for seva to Tulsi Maharani, you're asking for seva adhikar. Right? She's not saying, we are not praying seva diye koro nijadasi. We are saying seva adhikara diye koro nijadasi. Give me qualification to serve. No? So when a person does not understand that, a person thinks, I am qualified to serve Krishna. No, 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 no. First of all, you need to acquire that qualification by praying to Krishna. Please give me qualification. Please give me adhikar. Please give me capacity to serve. Then as a grace it comes, so then my strength to serve also increases.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? So we can increase it. But then the process to increase it is that you should get it as a mercy upon you. Then you can increase it. If I artificially try to increase it, then my spiritual endeavors will become materialistic in nature. You know, like for example, a person may have a person, if he or she has adhikar, that person can make thousands of temples and engage those temples in service to Krishna. But if a person does not have that much adhikar, a person will make thousands of temples. But then for what? My name will be spread all over the world. I made 1,000 temples for Krishna. So the spiritual activity then becomes materialistic. Because that person did not have the adhikar qualification.
Okay.
Okay.
Prabhuji, I have another question. if we see it in the context of Sri Ishopanishad, so everything is at the end. Just wanted to confirm is spiritual energy, which is being converted to all types of.
But for Krishna, everything is spiritual. Yes, because of my consciousness, I see things as material and spiritual.
And the only way we can tap on this spiritual energy is by chanting or any devotional activities, right?
The only way we can?
We can tap on this, we can feel this spiritual energy. We can, to be.
So we can feel the spiritual energy, or we can be sheltered by the spiritual energy by engaging in spiritual activities under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master.
Okay, just wanted to confirm this.
Yes. Thank you. So Sonal Mataji already answered your question. Is there a quota for us to practice Krishna consciousness? Yes. Yes, Hanit Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, now supposing you said one point about hoarding of money, right? Even if when we're talking about ISKCON. Now supposing there are so many expenses now. Supposing they have a food program which is running. Supposing there's this COVID-like situation. Supposing there are some emergencies.
Yeah. So for all those practical reasons, it's allowed. It's okay. No problem.
No problem. My question was that supposing there is a fund created within ISKCON, right? And that fund is kept for all these activities. And in that fund is invested as per the government norms. So that whatever is the interest which is accrued out of that fund is used for all the spiritual activities. That's not considered as hoarding, right? Or is that also hoarding?
That will be considered hoarding if a sannyasi is doing it.
No. The sannyasi is not doing it. The sannyasi has maybe given his blessings that okay.
Yeah.
Right?
So then that's not hoarding because the grihastha is doing it. The grihastha is allowed to do it.
Okay.
Right. The king of the country is allowed to do it. So if the king does it, no problem.
Okay.
Right. But if a sannyasi starts doing it, then it's a problem.
Got it.
Right. So an institute can do it because an institute is a body.
Right.
Like, for example, if a king is there, a king has a kingdom. So the king may do it for the security of the citizens. That let me have some savings in future if there's a drought, there is scarcity of food or whatever. So the reserve will supply. The king does it. The king does it with the vision of providing for the whole kingdom. Isn't it? Right. So similarly, because ISKCON is a body, is an institute, and basically ISKCON, in one sense, you can say it's providing for people who are dependent on ISKCON. So ISKCON may have to keep such security measures. In future, if this problem comes, then we should have some funds in surplus, extra like that. But as an individual, not as an individual. And if I'm doing that in a particular role, then it's because of that role, but it's not for me. Right. So that's how we understand the thing, not as an individual.
One more question. You said that, there's no point in building hundreds of temples. Now, supposing I'm just taking one example. I'm taking an example of Mumbai as a megapolis. Okay. So we have got, it's pretty widely spread out. Now, temples are few. At least ISKCON temples are not that many. So supposing if Mumbai decides that, okay, we need at least 10, we need at least 15 ISKCON temples, right? And for that, obviously, funds are to be collected and whatever other things which go into it. So as per whatever we discussed today, is that wrong?
It won't be wrong. First of all, we make devotees who will look after those temples.
Correct.
If you just make temples, then it's wrong.
Got it.
So first make devotees who look after the deity in the temple. There's so many temples in India. What's happening? Is the deity being taken care of? No. There's no one there to cook for the deity. There's no one to make garlands for the deity. They'll make this chandan garland because it doesn't get spoiled, So 1 year, one garland is offered, and they change it once in a year. So what is that kind of tamasha? It is just only show. There is no devotion in this. Correct? It's only a show. So spiritual life is not about this kind of show business. So first of all, devotees should be there. Those devotee, that devotee community should be able to come forward. We'll be able to maintain this temple. We'll be able to maintain the seva of the Supreme Lord here. Then it's an intelligent decision, right? Otherwise, you make the temple, and then later on, people have to suffer all the time to collect funds to just make that temple run. And there's no one interested. Right?
So it has to be flourishing temples with the devotee community looking after.
Yeah, and it should be voluntarily accepted by that community. We'll take care of the deity here. Well, then just making temple and people don't go there, no one looks after the deity, no one is cooking for the deity, and then you start hiring people, you start paying them money. Please come do one aarti, we'll give you this much money. Please come do one kirtan for the deity, we'll pay you this much money. What is that then? That's not bhakti. That's not devotional service. So Srila Prabhupada's preaching is what? Let's make people devotees. Let's make people's house temples. That's the philosophy. Not that let's just make temples and then, let those temples be structures, and if people come, if not. Right. Next
Thank you,
question.
Prabhuji.
Sada Harinam Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Just I want to add few points actually, not a question. Like for example, when we talk about temple and visiting by paying for the ticket, I think it's good for me because I have seen many people, they take tickets to go movies. They have money, nothing that nobody.
Right.
And I've seen many people, they have money to take liquor, everything after coming out of Tirupati or whatever. They have plenty of things to spend for themselves. But when we talk about paying and then going in a 50 rupees queue or 100 rupees queue, temple is getting managed by so many things they have to manage. So I don't want to take a free darshan always. I always say, okay, there is a ticket, let me pay for it and go into it. And the mood is not that I paid and went darshan, but at least I have got a nice opportunity to see Krishna in a very peaceful and sober manner.
Yes.
So the idea of free ticket or not a free ticket depends on our capacity. If you are having capacity, you should take the Tirupati queue, take a nice darshan and come. That's one point. And as far as temple building is concerned, as we see magnanimous structures being built, we need to have magnanimous temples also built. And people, when they come and see that magnanimity of the temple, they become enthusiastic to give something from their side. And also,
so yes, what you're saying is correct. That is called preaching strategy. It should be used because people's minds have changed. So that's why it's a strategy. But then that strategy should remain a strategy, and that strategy should not become otherwise. Right? That strategy should be for prachar. If prachar is happening, it's a good strategy. If prachar is not happening, then that strategy is not good strategy. So yes, we should have big temples. At the same time, those temples should be full of devotees voluntarily wanting to serve Krishna. Then that temple is useful. When you have a big temple and then there is no one to even clean the floor, then it's not as a good strategy. Correct? Same thing with darshan. Okay, you have paid ticket darshan and stuff like that. That's fine. It's a good strategy. So that people give out some money. In Kali Yuga, no one wants to give money. So you have to make such strategies so that they give some money.
Correct.
Right? But earlier people would voluntarily give, so there was no need to make such strategies. Now you have to, until unless you make people feel privileged, they don't give money.
Absolutely.
They don't give money. Only if you make them feel privileged, you are a special person, So then that's how the money comes out of the pocket. So then what to do? It's like tricking them into doing something for Krishna so that they get benefit. Right? But then one who is doing the trick should be very careful that I am doing it for Krishna's pleasure. When a person is not mature like that, then a person may himself become a prey to that trick business. Isn't it? Correct. So a person has to be very mature in that regards, that this is just tricking them into getting some benefit. Okay. But a devotee should know that. I mean, devotee should not have those sentiments. If I cannot pay money, I don't have sufficient money to pay to get darshan, then I'm less privileged. No. Understand Siddhanta nicely. No, darshan doesn't come by just going to the front and standing in front of the Lord. You know, you can be at the back and you may not even see Krishna. But Bhakti-Siddhanta's philosophy teaching is, don't worry about whether you are seeing Krishna. Do something so that he will see you. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Like I'll tell you about His Grace Jayananda Prabhu. You might have heard his name. Jayananda Prabhu was a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And he was to be so busy in seva that Prabhupada is visiting the city. He has come after 1 year. Still, he would not go to see Prabhu. Same city. Prabhupada is in the temple where he is the president of the temple. And he's still not going to see Prabhupada. Why? Because he's busy doing seva for Prabhupada. And what was his seva? He would make Jagannath Rath Yatra cards. And it takes time to make a card. So sometimes it would take 1 month to make one card. And you know what he would do? He would make the card during the day, and at night he would sleep on the road below the cart to protect the cart. Not even go back to temple to sleep on a nice Dunlop bed. Sleep on the road below the cart. That's how he would serve. So when Srila Prabhupada would go to a temple where Jayananda Prabhu was the president or the vice president or the servant, everyone would come to meet Prabhupada, but Srila Prabhupada would always ask, where is Jayananda? I want to meet him. No, everyone would want to go to meet Prabhupada, but Prabhupada would say, where is Jayananda? I want to meet him. And why that I want to meet him? Because he was busy doing seva for Prabhupada, so I want to meet him. Sanatani Thakur.
Krishna Prabhuji, we were discussing about the over-endeavor in spiritual activities. So if I'm doing Bhakti-sastri now, tomorrow I would like to do Bhakti-Vedanta, again, Bhakti-Vaibhav, then Bhakti-Vedanta. And if I'm putting lot of efforts in giving the exams, studying the Shastras and all that thing, I also have one kind of, feeling that I should get good marks. But good marks is not in from the material perspective, but just to check whether I've understood the things. Will that be considered as over-endeavor? It will be considered as...
First thing, if you get good marks, it doesn't really mean you have understood the things.
Okay. Will this be considered as over-endeavor? I'm doing Bhakti-sastri, then Bhakti-Vaibhav and all that, putting more and more efforts in clearing those exams.
Yes, it will be considered over-endeavor if you stop chanting your 16 rounds.
Okay, if I'm doing 16 rounds also, then?
Yeah, over-endeavor means what? You are giving it time and energy more than it should be given. That's called over-endeavor. Correct? So if you give more time and energy to something, that means you are compromising on something else.
But if I'm compromising on material activities, not compromising on all my spiritual activities.
So if those material activities are not to be done, then it won't be called over-endeavor. It all depends on whether you are supposed to do it or not do it. It will depend on what phase of life you are in, right? Now you are maybe in 50s, late 40s or 50s, let's say, correct? So now it's the time to wind up from material activities and be more spiritually engaged. So it's good that you are taking out time for more and more spiritual activity. But if someone is at the age of 22, 24, and now that person has to go to the office, earn money, and then person says, no, I'll not go to the office, I'll just sit and study for Bhakti-sastri. Right? So for that person, in that particular situation, this would be wrong, because that person is compromising on another duty, which is very important. So it depends on an individual in what situation you are in your life now, what phase you are going through. That will decide it's an over endeavor, it's a less endeavor, how it is. You're getting it, isn't it?
Okay.
So that's why I said, no, let's say I am endeavoring for Bhakti-sastri, exams come. So today I'll not chant because today is exam. No, I want to score 50 on 50. Tomorrow I'll chant. So that's over endeavor. Correct? No, you should do your other duties also. And then you study for Bhakti-sastri and you get whatever marks come.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Vrindarani Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I don't really understand this principle of be satisfied by your own quota. There are always situations that are confusing me. I remembered a few of them, if we don't put extra effort, we will not be able to go on Vyasa Puja or visit holy places. Also, the other situation is that employers are not really satisfied with employees which are not ambitious.
Okay, now you see that when we are talking about this whole principle of being satisfied with your quota, it is individually to be done, it is collectively to be done, it is something to be understood by you as an employee, and it is also to be understood by someone who's the employer, right? If everyone understands, then things can work in that way. But then if I am in such a situation where my employer does not understand this principle, definitely there will be a problem. Because that for that person, success means something else. But, so I am then put into a situation which is like a dilemma for me. I know I should not be doing this or this is wrong, but then my situation is like that. Correct? Isn't it? So in that situation, then you accept that as your fate, what to do. Because of my past, I am put into such a situation. Right? So here it doesn't mean that you don't know what is right, what is wrong. You know this is right and this is wrong. You are convinced this is right and this is how it should be. But because of your situations, you are not able to follow that. In that case, Krishna forgives. Because the things are not completely in your hand. Like, for example, I mentioned 6 hours of job should be sufficient. But then if my company expects me to work for 9 hours, what to do then? I'm in that situation, what to do? I have to go for 9 hours. Otherwise, I'll be removed from the job. I must follow, right? So then one understands that I am forced to follow. But if I get an offer, okay, there is a company which will be very happy if I just work for 6 hours, and I'm getting that opportunity, then, oh yes, I should switch. I should switch for that. Or if for this company I'm working, and this company is very happy if I work for 9 hours, then I should not then unnecessarily work for 10, 11 hours, because if I do that, then I'll just get some extra money which I don't need. Isn't it correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So in different situations, how practically you apply will be different. But the principle is that in my heart, I should know that I should not do over endeavor, because ultimately it's not healthy for my spiritual life. Now I said we want to go for yatra, for Vyas Puja, we need to save money. So that's fine. That's not considered over endeavor, because it's something which will facilitate your spiritual life or help your spiritual life. So you need to do sometimes, emergency situation comes, we may have to work extra. That's allowed. Like, let's say someone got sick and then I need to pay the medical bills. For that, I may have to work for 3 hours extra. So, okay, you do that for a week, for 2 weeks, for a month. That's called an emergency situation in life. But then it should not be my whole life becomes an emergency situation. In some situation, yes, okay, no problem. Fine. Yes, ma'am.
One more thing. I know about this attitude, not saving for the future. I know devotees which, when they were young, used to live in the temple and serving, and didn't save for the old days. And in the old days, they are without pension and health insurance, and it's a quite common problem in ISKCON. I think because we don't have social
that
strata.
is because two reasons. First of all, if you are a grihastha, you must save. Okay, so that's an scriptural injunction. You must save if you're a grihastha. You should save something for emergency times. Second thing, it's a mistake on the part of the institute. If a person has dedicated his or her life to the institute must take care of that person's whole life. So that's institutional flaw. It's institute's business to take care. If they are not taking care, then it's institute's flaw. Okay, so both ways. Yes.
Then I guess we have to work on that in ISKCON.
Yeah, it has to work. And there are leaders who are working in their own areas, but you cannot force everyone to become like that. If they become mature leaders, they will also begin to understand and they will also start following in that direction. Correct? Isn't it? So it needs a little maturity in leaders to comprehend such problems, understand that these problems need a solution and work on the solution.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anju Mataji. Okay, others who want to leave, they can leave. We are over time. So if you want to go, you have something else to do, you can. Yes, there's two more questions. I'll stop here.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavata. My question has been answered while you were answering Vrinda's answers questions. So I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sonal Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji. My question has more to do with the over-indulgence. I'm in my early 40s and I have 2 young children. Sometimes I get a feeling that now, obviously no one said it openly at home, but sometimes I get a feeling that my family thinks I'm bordering on over-indulging. But for me, I feel like what I'm doing is not enough even at this point. So I'm always at that roadblock where I'm very confused. Should I take a step forward or should I take a step back?
So I did not get your question completely because your voice is cracking.
Okay.
But you mentioned that you are in the early 40s, you have small kids, and what next? You have some?
My question was that I get a feeling from my family sometimes that I'm over-indulging.
In spiritual life.
Yes, in spiritual life, that I'm over-indulging. But for me, I would like to actually move a few more steps forward. So I'm at that junction where I'm confused. Step forward or step back.
The first thing is that what the family members are saying, you should try to, first of all, analyze it with a very, unbiased mentality and intelligence, that what they are saying, is it really the situation, or is it their exaggeration about the situation? Because for those who are not spiritually inclined, they find anything a person is spiritually inclined do useless, because they don't understand its importance. For them, it's like you're wasting your time and energy. Why you're doing such things? So because they don't really know its value, they don't really understand that this time is also an investment. This is also something required, right? So they can never actually tell us whether we are doing over endeavor or we're doing less endeavor. This we need to understand from those who, first of all, understand the importance of spiritual activities.
Okay.
And at the same time, they understand that being in a family life, we have certain duties and responsibilities. So you're not also compromising on that end. You're able to do both. in a balanced manner. You're not doing too much of that, and you're not doing too much of this, that is affecting that. Correct? So this cannot be told by our family members if they are not devotees. This can only be told to us by someone who is a devotee and who understands the needs of giving time in both of these activities. Correct? We need to understand from them. So as a parent or whatever, if you're working, how much time do I have to give to my family, which is required to be given? How much time do I have to give to my work, which is required to be given? You decide on that. You'll definitely be able to find a specific number of hours for that account. And then whatever remaining time is there, that's for my spiritual life. Because that's my personal time, no? In general, who are not devotees, how do they use their personal time? They'll go to kitty parties, they'll go to cinema, shopping, doing this, doing that, right? So you just start using time for your spiritual life.
Okay.
And remaining time you have for your family, for your kids, for your job, everything.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. See you on next Saturday.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.